Good morning. Today is Monday, November 3rd. It's 7:38 a.m. Central Time. We just had the time change as well, so I think normally this would be 8:30 a.m. So just getting used to it being a lot brighter right now. Um, so we'll quickly walk through some things. I won't repeat a lot of what was happening in the weekend prep, but I did continue on in my research for options flow platform, and I ended up on unusual whales because it basically has everything I was looking for and a lot more. Initially, I was looking at this some time ago, but it was more complicated back then for me. Where it was just too much, and I was like, "Well, I don't. This is too many things that I don't really care about." But as I learned more and more about options and all the different ways you can use it to identify levels, I kind of came back to it. Also, for me, Tasty Trades, I do have an account with them, so being able to place trades directly from this platform is pretty cool. And then the mobile app's pretty awesome. So I'm here. I mean, it's still a bit clunky. There's a lot of options, and so you just kind of have to go through that and learn, which I will continue to learn. But I think for all the morning preps, these are the things that I care about. The first is the kind of net premium for puts and calls, and so being able to see that over time every day is pretty amazing, and so that's I'm super excited about that. Exploring these gamma exposure levels, and so this has a nice overlay on the charts, and then also dark pool levels. And so it has everything kind of in one place for me. So that I thought that was pretty cool. So I'll be looking at this every day and just trying to see how things go. So for the cues on the kind of net flow of everything, it's interesting. Volume was net green, and then we had the premium was net green, net green, net green, and then on October 29th started going a little bit red. Net puts started to go a little bit red, but then the calls got to equilibrium by the end of the day, so we weren't sure. Next day, you see like the puts like really outpaced the calls. Volume went red, and then on the 31st, which was Friday, you can see the puts are outpacing the calls and volume is going red. So it's interesting. It looks like the tides are turning for volume and put, and so feels like people want us to go down. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Um, I guess on the GEX exposure stuff, we're kind of in this range of there's more negative GEX exposure for or gamma exposure for market makers. And so I think below this level, there if we sell off, maybe we continue selling off, or if we spike up, maybe we um, like continue spiking up. I think the theory is if we get up to these green levels, this is where if we spike, you'd want to short, and if we flush down, you'd want to buy the dip because we'd want to stick around these prices. I think the 634 might be a magnet for us to kind of get up to and stick to. So we'll be watching that. And then dark pools, lots of transacted in the last on Friday at the basically the close. So we'll just see which way price goes. Um, and yeah, we'll see how we go. But I'm definitely watching the 628 equivalent. And then I think this gets updated every day. I'm not sure, and so this might be what's happening pre market. And so it looks like 633, 634. There was a lot transacted. Um, yeah, which is up here. So I'll have to kind of double check how that's all calculated and when. But that's kind of interesting. I think for me, I'm just going to see how price really behaves where we are at this close level, since we are kind of in this negative gamma exposure and also big dark pool level right here. But then also knowing that it's look like net premiums look more bearish and then volume looks more bearish there. So that's pretty interesting. Um, we can switch tickers and kind of look. The only bad thing is I haven't quite figured out how to make these charts display the way I want without having to redo them every time. So I'm still working through that. Um, so I just have to kind of always readjust things. But I think the spy is interesting. So there's not one level that has been like really pronounced. It's like all these levels in this kind of range area. There's been a lot of dark pools. So to me, it kind of could bounce around a bit more. Also, um, like right above this resistance is like a lot of positive exposure. So maybe we just stick there, right? And that's kind of could be a magnet. And I think if we get below this low, maybe we flush down a little bit more if the gamma theory kind of holds true. Yeah, and I guess this, I think when I flipped this, it showed like a whole lot of levels here. And now it's refreshing. So I think it's just that every day this is what's happening. So I'll have to see if there's a way to look at that historically. And then if we look at the, yeah, all the kind of net flow and everything, like this is super interesting where, wow, there's a lot of puts on the 20 or calls on the 27th, super green, and then a little bit muted. And then a lot of puts started picking up on the 29th, and then both kind of equilibrium. And then on Friday, the bears seem to be winning here. So that's kind of interesting going into this week. So we'll just kind of see how that goes. And let's see if we can get to GLD here. Yeah, and so you see this. I don't know how I keep this historical, but I will keep playing with that. And so we got our GEX levels there, and I have to adjust this somehow. Yeah, and so on gold for the dark pools, it looks like, I mean, kind of where we are trading, there's been a lot of volume. So again, just watching this equivalent of 367 and just seeing how we go. Like it didn't really launch out from that. So this happened on Friday and we just didn't launch. Either way, we're kind of right here. So just really going to watch that as a level of interest and seeing which way we go. And then from the GEX level, it seems like we want to get up to probably back up to here and stick. If we can get up there, we'd probably stay. I don't see any crazy. I mean, I guess if we get down this 366, maybe we flush down to 364 if the whole theory holds true. But it's not like crazy, like off balance, right? It really just seems like price might want a magnet to this 380 level. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. And then also, I don't know what happened to this table. Got updated there. So I'm still kind of walking through and learning the platform form a bit more. But gives me some interesting levels that I can mark on my trading view. So for the kind of flow and volume for gold, so it looks like puts really tried to pick up, but it was green volume, pretty equilibrium, a lot more calls, and then kind of equilibrium on Friday on the options, but then negative on the volume. So that's kind of interesting. So I think the cleanest one was probably the Qs as far as the transition of kind of the options flow and the volume. So I'll be kind of watching that, I think, this morning. So yeah, so this is, I'm still getting acquainted with the platform. And so as I explore it more, I'll maybe create more views and things, but there you go. As far as sentiment, it looks like neutral to bullish this morning on Qs, bullish on ES, and bearish on gold. Same thing on that, and then also bullish, neutral on Claude. So nothing crazy there. Looks like we got the PMI flash coming, so we'll see how that goes. Government is still officially shut down, so we'll just see what else happens. I know this employment change will be interesting. What else happened today? I think there was some ratings. Analyst ratings upgraded a lot of tickers, like Nvidia's price target got increased. JP Morgan's price target got increased. I think there's like $1 trillion pay package that's meant to be approved for Elon Musk. And so I don't know if that impacts the Tesla shares and all that. So yeah, I think that's what I remember what's happening as far as what's happening in the news. Alphabet is looking to raise 15 billion from a U.S. bond sale. I guess that's good or bad, not sure. So yeah, I guess as far as earnings, I think we talked about this, but for today we have Palantir. That's one thing to keep in mind. So that's after hours. I think that's a big thing today. And then tomorrow we got more AMD and everything else. So we'll be looking into that. But I think Palantir is a big one. And so yeah, so I guess we can just look at the charts here really quick. So NQ, just kind of holding up. ES holding up nicely. Russell did make a little bit high, made a higher high after it kind of pushed down. So let's see if we rotate back into that. Dow just kind of hanging out. VIX sideways. Dollar is kind of picking back up. So it's interesting if we can kind of break that level and see if it comes back to life. Treasury yields also picking back up. Gold just hanging out there, kind of poised, but hanging out. Um, so we'll just kind of see how that looks. And if we look at our super spy, if anything crazy is happening here. So Berkshire's holding up, or not Berkshire, Broadcom's holding up. Berkshire's there a little bit down. JP Morgan, they just had the upgrade on their price target. And so it looks like pre-market hasn't moved much. So, but it is holding up. LOY is up. Yeah, I think all these look the same when we looked at it yesterday. So nothing crazy there. And then on the gold front, nothing really changed when we looked at it yesterday. So again, just kind of looking for this gap close. Let's see how we do. I think that that gamma exposure level, I think was like 380, I think it was. And so this is where price could go and stick. So maybe that would act as a magnet. So we'll kind of see how we go there. So for me, I'm really just forward testing all these gamma exposure levels just to see like how price behaves and learning about that a bit more. So yeah, I think for me, plan this morning. So on the gold front, yeah, so we had this dark pool level that was here. So I'm really just seeing how price behaves. I mean, if we can break above 455, maybe it's a sweep and a fall back over. But if we break it strong, then maybe we keep going up. But I don't know. Not sure if that would happen this morning. Um, I think if we stay below this, I think there's a short, but I don't think it's going to follow through too much. But maybe we'll sweep that low, close this little mini gap here. Something, nothing too crazy. But hey, if we break the lows, maybe we go. There's room. So we'll see how we go there on gold. On ES and NQ, a little bit more short bearish given what I saw on the options flow and everything on Friday. Options flow and the volume flow. So let's see. I kind of marked there was kind of equal volume across this whole area. So I'm just kind of marking this whole zone as like an area to watch. If we break out above it, maybe we keep going up. If we break below, I think there was a lot of negative gamma exposure, so maybe we go lower. But I think while we're in between this, maybe we just bounce. And so I might just be looking for bounces kind of between these two areas for now. And then for NQ, the close was pretty pronounced as a dark pull level. So I'm just going to be watching this. I mean, if we fall and convincingly, maybe we get down to here. Obviously, if we break below here, there's a big gap and there was a lot of negative exposure and all that stuff. So maybe it's possible that we flush. Not sure. But we could hold above it and get up to here, and who knows? Kind of test highs. We got all the earnings and everything. If everything's positive, maybe we do go up. So I'll just be watching this 26,976 level and seeing how price kind of behaves there. So no real bias. I know sentiment is bullish on Qs and ES, but the flow and volume looks bearish over the last 7 days. And then the opposite is true for gold. Sentiment is neutral to bearish. Well, actually, no, but the flow is also bearish as well from looking at it. Yeah, gold. Well, no, so the volume is, so we're a little bit mixed. So I think that's the thing. It's been mixed. The Bears tried to win, the Bulls tried to win. Now we're mixed. We're mixed. Bulls kind of winning, Bulls winning, Bulls barely winning. So maybe, yeah, looking at this, like gold isn't as clear as ES and or as SPY and Q. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I think the clearer volume trends are bearish on Qs and SPY, but let's just see if price follows that. I think for gold, it might be better to be open to play both sides, but let it extend itself either up or down, and then kind of take the other side as we hit support or resistance. Um, so yeah, that's it for me. I guess we'll see how we go, and good luck, and don't get caught. Thank you.